Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon here on YouTube, and then I post it up to other social media. So this video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, psychology today will pop up, click on that, and we'll have all of the therapists in your area. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other goddamn therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka, done. All right, so a couple of announcements. If you are interested in purchasing my books, they are available on Amazon. So they are available on Audible, and I do the narration for them, and a very talented voice actor also does the narration on this one with me. So they're both available on Amazon. They're available on Audible, so you can get those and listen to them if you so choose. Susanna's book is available. It's called You're Still That Girl. So hi, UK. I got an announcement for you guys. Hang on just a second. I want to get all these other announcements out of the way. All right. Shahida Arabi's book. Get it, read it, live it, love it, learn it, love it. It's amazing. So get her book. It is amazing. It is really good for anybody that was raised by narcissistic parents. It's awesome. I love her. Shahida Arabi is awesome. I freaking love her. So anyway, this is also available on Amazon. So there is that. Okay. So all right. So I wanted to give you some announcements. All right. So August 3rd is going to be Anaheim. We only have 4 tickets left. If you are interested in seeing Susanna and I in Anaheim, go to Eventbrite, Mercury Eventbrite, or Chris Godinez, Mercury Eventbrite, or just Eventbrite, look for Chris Godinez. It will be there. Get your tickets there. August 31st is San Jose. September 1st is San Francisco. If we do not have enough people signed up for those 2 sites, I will not be flying out, because again, if I have to leave and fly a ridiculous amount of time and it's expensive, then I'm not coming unless we have 10 people at least. So San Jose and San Francisco, there's still plenty of tickets left. So please, if you're interested in seeing me and you want me up there, please get your tickets soon, because if I don't have everybody signed up by August 3rd, I am not flying out, okay? September 14th is Reno. I will be there for that. October 19th is Austin, Texas. October 20th is San Antonio, Texas. December 6th is the cruise. So Chris was able to get a hold of 4 more cabins. So there are 8 places available. So get a hold of Chris at mercury.com if you are interested in attending the cruise. And you're going to get me and Susanna on the cruise. So you get access to us at lunch and dinner. And, you know, if you happen to catch us on the ship, that's cool. We're going to be giving out lanyards. That's cool. So, and then December 14th, Orlando for those that could not do the cruise. So that will be in there. Now, here's the big announcement. Dun, 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 dun. So Susanna and I will be touring Europe. We will be doing England, Scotland, and Ireland. We will be in London, June 13th of 2020 from 10 a.m. to 12. Then we're going to do Birmingham that same day, June 13th, 2020 from 3 to 5. Then we are doing Manchester, June 14th from 2 to 4. And then the following weekend, June 20th, Edinburgh, Scotland, also 2 to 4. And June 21st, Dublin, 2 to 4. So she will be coming with me. I just confirmed that this morning. She's very excited. I'm very excited. This is very cool. So hope to see everybody that is in the area to come to one of those places. I'm trying to like spread it out so that I can, you know, hit as many places as possible. But there's, you know, 2 of us and thousands of you. So anyway, yes, so it will be London, Birmingham, Manchester, Edinburgh, and Dublin. So there it is. I am super, super, super excited. So anyway, that's the big announcement. Okay. One other announcement. If you are interested in purchasing these cups, they are available on eBay. So, and I package them myself. So there it is. All right. Okay. If you need to get books, like if you're looking for the books that I talk about, usually what Susan, who's my admin person, does is she goes and she puts a link to it in the comments underneath. I also have a book list on my Facebook page. So if you need to find the books, that's where they are. Okay, I think that was all the announcements that I needed to do. Okay, so all right, so today, forgiveness. I wanted to talk about forgiveness because I posted a little meme earlier, I think it was yesterday, that said something about don't let your past control you, let it go. And then I had people just flaming me on that one going, what do you mean let it go? You know, I'm not going to let it go. You know, I'm like, stop. So here's the deal, guys. Forgiveness and letting it go does not mean you act like it never happened. Okay. And I think this is where people get all, foobarred, is because they think that, oh, forgiveness means that it's you're absolved and, it never happened and we'll just continue on as if it never happened. No, 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 no. So what forgiveness is, it's not about the other person. It's not. The narcissist doesn't give a flying rat's ass whether you forgive them or not. They don't care. They're just, in it for themselves. So what forgiveness is about us, okay? And it's about not allowing the past or stuff that has happened to define who we are in this moment moving forward. So stuff happens in the past. It has happened. And this is, I think, one of the reasons why we get so upset when somebody says snarkily, let it go. So there's a big difference, okay? When somebody's like, oh, just, God, you're talking about that again? Oh my God, just let it go. Okay, those are the people you need to give the finger to, because they don't get it, okay? You do have to process through it. What I am talking about, though, is the rumination. Rumination, like a cow chewing its cud. I don't know, for all you country folk out there, what cows do, they have two stomachs, and they'll eat something, and then they'll bring it back up, and they'll sit there and chew on it for days, weeks, months, whatever. It's disgusting. But it's, for us, rumination is the same thing. We regurgitate stuff that has happened that really we have dealt with. And instead, we replay entire conversations. We replay entire events that have happened. Well, I should have done that. I could have done that. I would have done that. I should have told that person, blah, 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 blah. And we replay the whole thing as if it were happening. Okay, that's not healthy. That's not healthy. I'm going to tell you right here, right now, that is not healthy. Is it normal for us with PTSD, CPTSD to do that? Yes, it is. But part of the healing from PTSD and from CPTSD is stop ruminating. Stop. When you have the flashback, okay, you acknowledge it. Yeah, that's a flashback. That happened in the past. I cannot fix that. I cannot change that. That is history. It is done. All I can do is this moment forward. That is it. So letting it go does not mean forgetting. For the love of God and all that's holy, I don't ever want any of you to forget what those fuckers did to you. I don't, because we do need to remember that stuff so that when we see it again, we're like, oh, I know who you are. I know what you are. No, you don't get to come near me. You lost that privilege. It's like you recognize abusers when you see them. So I don't ever want you to like abuse amnesia and forget. No, that's not what forgiveness is about. Forgiveness is letting the past be the past and forgiving ourselves. It is not about the abuser. It's not. The abuser can go stuff it sideways with an unlubricated baseball bat as far as I am concerned. However, we've got to let go of stuff. We can't just keep ruminating and bringing it up and going shoulda, coulda, woulda. So shoulda, coulda, woulda is a mental mind fuck. It is. It is a great way to make yourself feel like shit. It is a great way to make yourself feel terrible. It is a great way to beat yourself up. Shouldas. I should have. Well, you couldn't because you didn't know. Trust me, if we had known better, we would have done better. But we didn't know better because who teaches us about abuse? Nobody I know. It's just like balancing a checkbook. Nobody ever teaches kids how to balance a checkbook either. They really should. They should teach what to look out for in dating situations, and they should teach how to balance a checkbook. It's all freaking common sense. Common sense, not so common. Anyway, the point being is that we didn't know better. But what we do is we go, oh, well, I should have done this. I should have left sooner. What the fuck? No, you didn't know. You didn't know. And any empath is going to stick around and try to fix because we don't know at that time that person is never interested in changing. They don't change. Leopard does not change its spots. When they are malignant, they are malignant. That is it. Game over. Stick a fork in them. They're done. Okay. So we don't know what we don't know. And to demand of ourselves to have known something that we weren't taught is akin to dropping a kid off in the middle of Iceland and going, okay, speak Icelandish. Okay, figure it out. What? Who, what? No, 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 because we don't know. We don't know. We don't know. So are you going to blame a kid for not understanding Icelandic? I don't even know what the language is, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, if you don't speak the language, how can you blame the person for not knowing how to speak the language if they've never been taught the language? It's the same thing with us. How can we blame ourselves? Blame like shoulda, coulda, woulda, shoulda, coulda, woulda. You guns, you should have done this, you should have done that. But we do it to ourselves about not knowing what we didn't know when we didn't know it. You wouldn't do that to a kid. Why would you do that to you? So if we're all about healing the inner child, one of the most important things we must do, as in a must, as in a to do, is we must forgive ourselves. I know. It's hard. It is hard because we sit there and we ruminate and we go, I should have done this. I should have done that. I could have, should have. Stop shoulding all over yourself. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. It's no bueno. It will not end well. You will end up feeling like doo-doo. You don't want to feel like doo-doo. Your abuser has already made you feel like doo-doo. Stop making yourself feel like doo-doo. So when those thoughts pop up, oh, I should have, I could have, I would have. Okay, thank you for your input. Shut the fuck up. Why? Because you say so. You're the boss of this. I say so. You're the boss of this. It is not the boss of you. It thinks it's the boss of you. It is not the boss of you. Thank you for your input. I see you. Yeah. Okay. Well, if I had known differently, I would have done something differently. But you know what? I didn't. So guess what? How I handled it is the way I handled it. It's the way it needed to happen. So thank you for your input. Shut the fuck up. Why? Because I say so. You replace it with a positive. Everything I did with the knowledge I had at the time. I forgive myself for not knowing. You don't beat up a kid for not knowing something, but I'll tell you who does. Abusers do. Abusers will, you didn't know this, you didn't know this, you didn't know this, and just, smush them like potato chips into the carpet. Why? Well, because it makes them feel better, makes them feel powerful. But unfortunately, if we were raised with that, we've got that going on in our head, and then we become our own abuser. We got to stop that. We got to stop that shit. We got to. And it's because that's what we heard over and over and over and over again. It's the brainwashing. So we must treat ourselves with absolute compassion, absolute kindness, and absolute forgiveness for not knowing what we didn't know when we didn't know it. Honestly, if we were mind readers, none of us would have been in an abusive relationship ever, because we would have gone, oh, I'm sensing abuse over here. Oh, yes, this is not going to end well. Nope, not going to date him. Okay, but we're not. We're not mind readers. Trust me. If we were mind readers, none of this would have happened. We all would have won the lottery, and we would be like in the Caribbean somewhere. So you cannot beat yourself up for not knowing what you don't know. Stop shooting all over yourself. It hurts. It hurts. Don't do it. Please don't. Treat yourself as if you were your own child raised by you the way you wished you had been raised, which means with love, with kindness, with patience, and that is something that abusers do not have, with patience, and they teach us not to have it, with patience, there's a reason I'm saying this over again, and compassion and forgiveness. Forgive, 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 forgive. It is about you. It is not about the abuser. It is about you. So there is a difference. So this, one of the things that people do is they go, oh, let it go, let it go. You're making me wrong for blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not making you wrong. You are making yourself wrong. Stop it. Stop. You don't need to make yourself wrong. You don't. We are all going to have moments when we bring stuff up. We are all going to have moments when we ruminate. Okay. It's gonna happen. It is. But the difference is you don't invite it in for coffee and to sleep over. You don't. And that's our biggest mistake, is that, the rumination pops up and we start refighting these battles that we lost because we were fighting with an abuser who's manipulative and lying and cheating and stealing and everything else you can think of. And we replay it in our head. Oh my God, well, this, that, and the other, and this, that, and the other. And we get ourselves all worked up because remember, our amygdala, okay, this is your brain, left side, right side. This is your amygdala. It's about an inch inside of each ear. This little guy's our fight, flight, freeze, or fawn center. He, she, or it cannot tell the difference between a real event happening right now, okay, or something we're just thinking about. Everything feels here now, here now, here now, here now to this little guy. So when we start dragging up stuff that's happened in the past and we do the shoulda, coulda, woulda, and we're ruminating and we're, I'm going to remember that. And I'm going to get the, this little guy goes, oh shit, we're in danger again. That abuser is here. Holy crap. Okay. Hello, hippocampus. Hello, hypothalamus. I need cortisol. Cortisol's our stress hormone. Now we're tense. Now our shoulders and our ears have now become one. And we're not breathing because we're all tense because we're getting ready to kill something, run away, freeze, meaning the predator goes on by and does not see us and just goes, or to give in, fawn, so that we don't get killed. Okay. So now we're in battle mode, and we're in battle mode all the time. This is why you've got to work on forgiveness. If you do not, this is where the hypervigilance comes from. Does this make sense to you guys? Because this is what I want to connect, because I think that's the missing dot, is that somebody was like, well, I've got PTSD and CPTSD, and this is part of it. Well, yes, it is, but you've got to manage it. If you do not, you're going to be up in hypervigilance, looking, danger, 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 all the time. Your adrenal glands are eventually going to go, peace out, peeps, and then keel over. So this is why you've got to acknowledge the thoughts, calm yourself. This is not happening here now. This is not happening here now. This is something that happened in the past. This bothers me. Why? Well, grab your journal, okay? Write it out. So the abuser said this, that, and the other thing. I wished I would have said this, that, and the other thing. I didn't say this, that, and the other thing. Can I forgive myself? Hopefully the answer is going to be yes, because you did not know better. When we know better, we do better. And until we know better, we don't do better because we don't know better. Does that make sense? So yeah, it's like you cannot do something that you were not taught. You cannot do something that you did not have experience with. You can't, gentle with you. It's just like a kid learning math. Are you going to scream at them because they don't know algebra and they're in the 8th grade or the 3rd grade? No, you're not. You're going to teach them gently how to do algebra. You're not going to scream at them. You're not going to make them wrong. It's like, oh, okay, there was a mistake here. Okay, how can we do this differently? This is how we can do it differently. Okay, if this ever happens again, this is how to respond. This is how to do this problem. Okay, gentle, kind, forgiving, loving, merciful. See, this is all stuff that abusers don't have any concept of. They are all about revenge. They're all about hate. They're all about, I'm going to show you. They're all about putting down. They're all about harming. They're all about, let me make sure that you did wrong and that you're stupid and all the other nasty, mean, horrible things that they have ever done to us, whether they were parental units, grandparents, teachers, a romantic partner, a friend, a boss. They all do the same thing. So we cannot become our own abuser. So the difference between absolving and forgiveness. Absolving is like a church thing where they go, oh, you're absolved, all your sins have gone, and that's great. But for us, but here's the thing, also in the church thing, the biggest thing that I see happen with religious hypocrites is they get absolved, but then they go right back out and do the same damn thing all over again. So that is their issue. Okay, they've got a moral compass issue. For us, it is not absolving like, okay, your sins have been lifted and you can continue to abuse me. That is not what forgiveness is about. So Pema Chodron talks about compassion versus idiot compassion, and this has to do with forgiveness. So compassion is where you can look at a situation and go, wow, that's fucked up. Yeah, I see where you went south. I understand why you're driving the car off the ledge. I understand why you're an abuser. I got it. Your family was messed up. And I do not need to have you in my life. I have compassion because, geez Louise, sucks to be you. Damn. Somebody who's vicious and mean and nasty and hateful and, all of these horrible things and putting down and needing to be one up and all of that. That's a terrible way to live. It's suffering. It's suffering. In the Buddhist concept, it is suffering. So you can see that and you can go, yeah, that sucks. Yeah, I don't want to be like that. No, I don't need that in my life either. But I can have compassion for them that, geez Louise, that sucks. But you don't have to have them in your life. So that is a form of forgiveness. Okay. That does not mean you have them in your life. Okay. It's just like last couple of weekends ago, I went to Santa Barbara, met up with my sister Nancy. It was awesome. We had an amazing talk. And while we were talking, of course, all the stuff that our dad did popped up. And yeah, we got into it, not with each other, but we were like, yeah, roll up the sleeves. Let's work this through, And we were bringing up some very painful stuff and some very, deep issues that had never been talked about, never resolved. But when we were done, we went, okay, it's done. Now we've talked it through. Now we can be sisters. Now we can move this stuff into the past where it belongs. We can forgive. We can have compassion because both of us recognize that both of our parents were just like, not healthy, very dysfunctional. Her mom, my dad, it's a thing. So, and then we can go, okay, now what? Okay, now what? Let's live our life. Let's hang out. Let's talk about collies. She she sent me a dog rescue thing here in Arizona. She's like, okay, this is the collie dog rescue in Arizona. And I'm like, I can't have a dog yet because I still have Scotty and he would eat it. So, so we get to have our relationship without the abuser constantly being in the middle of it, even though the abuser's dead. So something I need you guys to think about is that sometimes we hang on to not forgiving and the resentment and the wanting to hurt back and all of that as a way to keep the abuser close to us. Oh, I can hear all of the fuck you, Chris's from here. So yeah, it's true. We do it. So especially if an abuser dies, like is in the case of my dad, I kept him alive for years by hating him, just hating him. Oh, how dare he? Of course, I was also an alcoholic during that time period. Well, you know how that goes. I still am an alcoholic. I just don't drink. So the point being is that we hang on to resentment and anger in a misguided effort to keep the abuser close to us to heal them. What do you think we're doing when we're ruminating? Well, if I just said this, well, if I just did this, if I could just get through to them, if I had just, we're trying to heal them, but we're healing a ghost. They're not even there. They're in our head, they're not even there. So you're wasting your time and energy. And even if they were there, you're still wasting your time and energy because they don't think there's anything wrong with them. If they did, they'd be working on it. They don't go to therapy. They don't. Abusers don't go. The only time they go to therapy is when they're either court mandated or when they think they can manipulate the therapist. And every single time I've ever seen an abuser pick a therapist, it has been one that was straight out of school and had no experience with personality disorders, or was somebody who had no experience with personality disorders and they can manipulate. So yeah, that's the only time they go. As soon as the therapist goes, and what is your part in this? They go, fuck you, you're incompetent, blah, 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 and they're out. So anyway, but we stay angry at them and we refuse to have compassion and or to forgive either ourselves or them in a misguided effort to keep them close to fix them. And that is inner child stuff, guys. That's the inner child going magic thinking. If I could just pull up the past, if I could just change this, if I could just fix this, if I found the magic word that would heal them, then I would make everything right and everything would be okay and I would be loved. Wow, that hurts. So we hurt ourselves on a daily basis by doing that. We hurt ourselves all the time by not forgiving. And it's not about forgiving them. What they did was heinous. Fuck them, sideways with an unlubricated baseball bat. There is no forgiveness for that. We forgive ourselves and we understand where they came from. Okay, I get it. Yeah. Wow. Psychopath. So, okay, there was no compassion. There was no empathy there. You could not put yourself in another person's shoes. You derived ego. So ego was the biggest thing and ego was who you were and you couldn't let go of it because you thought that's who you were. Okay, I get it. I get why you did all the things you did. Doesn't excuse it. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't mean I have to like it. But it also doesn't mean I have to sit there and think about it every damn day for the rest of my life. Because if I do that, the abuser wins. The abuser wins. So, yeah, this is why forgiveness is huge. It isn't about the abuser. It's not. It's about us. It's about letting go of a person who's not even there. They're in our head. They're not even there. It's a ghost. They're not even there. Let them go. Let it go. You can't fix it. Don't ever forget what they did to you, for sure. In fact, I strongly recommend that you write down every single rotten thing that those fuckers ever did to you so that you don't fall into the hoovering. So, because they'll hoover, parents do this, bosses do this, friends do this. They hoover. They want you back into their orbit. And so when you can go, wait a minute, let me read this list of everything of the reason why I ended this relationship, this friendship, this boss relationship, this family relationship. Why did I end it? You can read back through and go, oh yeah, I don't want to be treated like that. Nope, not okay. Not willing to do it. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Nope, no hoover, block. So it is important to never forget, but you also don't want to ruminate and you don't want to seek revenge. Now, is it normal to want to seek revenge? Quoting Shakespeare, yes. If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you wrong us, do we not revenge? You can, but it's a fool's game. It's a fool's game. The best way to thumb your nose at them is to live well. Live well. Forgive. Live well. Forgive yourself. Have compassion. Live well. Don't let them back in your life. Move on. Go do fun things. Be amazing. Travel the world. Let the world see you. You see the world. Do it. So that is the best way to get revenge, is to take care of yourself. Read the self-esteem workbook. Get good boundaries. Recognize an abuser when they come into your orbit, and you can sidestep them and go, bye-bye, bye-bye now, bye-bye right when you get work, bye-bye. Do you see where, or better yet, don't write me at all, bye-bye. Do you see where I'm going with that? It's like you move on. You move on. So to be stuck in this idea that forgiveness means absolution, no, that's not what forgiveness is. There are two really good books. So Susan, if you're listening here, I want you to put these two up. One is called Radical Forgiveness by Colin Tipping. Okay. Great book. Frickin' read it. Radical Forgiveness by Colin Tipping. Okay. It's awesome. It's all about how to frickin' let go of the need to revenge and how to let go of the need to be right. Because there is no ability to be right with an abuser. You're always going to be wrong in their eyes, always. So you let it go. It's like, you're right. You know you did the right thing. So that's all it needs. You're the only person that needs to know that. Flying monkeys don't count. The smear campaign, let them do their thing. Live above it. Live above it. So yeah, Radical Forgiveness by Colin Tipping. Amazing book. It has helped so many of my clients. It was so funny because I had one client just, stuck in revenge, stuck in anger, stuck in, I'm going to get you back. I'm going to get you back. I'm going to get you back. And they spent their entire life doing nothing but getting back. I'm going to get mine. And I finally was like, okay, you know what? All these people are winning. You're the only loser in this because you're not living your life. You're not being authentic. You are giving up your time, your energy, your wellness to get back at these people that don't care. And so they read the book. Total change. Went from negative to, oh, look at the birds and the sunshine and the flowers. It's amazing, people, when you give up the need to be right and when you get rid of the ego and when you start working on you. Forgiveness is not about the other person. It's about us. How are we not taking care of ourselves? How are we not honoring our boundaries? How are we not honoring our self-esteem, our self-respect? How are we not taking care of ourselves? I know. Crazy go nuts. So that's a great book. The other one is Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach. So it's a great book because it's like, okay, you accept what is. You cannot change it. And that's also an AA concept. It's like, it is what it is. You can't fix it. You can't change it. It's gone. It's dead. It's in the past. So another great book, Tara Brach, Radical Acceptance. Radical Forgiveness by Colin Tipping. Those are two amazing books. That's what you want to do. So again, don't get caught up in the idea that forgiveness is about the abuser. It's not. Or that it means that you're giving them a pass. You're not. You're writing down everything they did to you and you're keeping it somewhere handy so that when they try to do the hoover, you're able to go, oh no, oh no, nope, hell no. And you don't fall back into their orbit. So really, it's not ever forgetting, but it is forgiving. And it's forgiving ourselves because we didn't know better. And it's forgiving them on the level of I see why you are the way you are, compassion. I get it, but I'm not going to have idiot compassion and allow you to interfere in my life 1 second more. And that means up here too. So when you're dragging them up from the past and shoulda, coulda, woulda, and I'm not going to let this go and brr, 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 guess what? They're keeping you from living your life right here, right now, in this moment. Because that's all we got, guys. All we have is this moment, this moment, this moment. We don't have the past. We don't have the future. Okay? There's a saying in AA, the past is history, the future is a mystery. All we got is right here, right now. And if you're allowing them to rent space in your head with revenge or anger or shoulda, coulda, woulda, and I'm not going to let it go and I'm not going to forgive you and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, you're not living in the moment. You're not living here and now. You're living in the past. Or, okay, when I see them, I'm going to da-da-da. Okay, well, you're living in a future that has not and probably will not happen. Again, we're not mind readers. If we were, we would have all won the lottery and be in, like, the Caribbean. So, or Hawaii. Or something. So anyway, that is the nature of forgiveness. It is not what you think it is. It is not an, I absolve you. No, it's not. It's I absolve myself. Holy shit. I didn't know what I didn't know. I forgive myself, my little inner child, for not knowing. Little one, you couldn't have known. You couldn't have known. Nobody ever taught us. Nobody ever taught us. So I'm not going to beat you up. You did good. You did the best you could with what you had. What can we do now? How do we move forward? How do we live well? How do we let this person go out of our heads and in reality, physical reality? How do we move forward? How do we live well? How do we excel? How do we be our best selves? That's what it's all about. So anyway, let's grab some questions. Are we? Oh, good Lord. Yes, we are there. Okay. How do you deal with the aftermath of abuse? And at what stage is forgiveness in the recovery process? It is far down the line, far down. So here's the thing. This is what drives me crazy is when something heinous happens and somebody goes, oh, you just need to forgive them like right now. No, you don't. You know why? You have to get through the anger first. Because if you don't get through the anger, you're never going to get to compassion. You're never going to get to forgiveness. So anger is there for a reason. There is a great book called The Gift of Anger. Damn me if I can remember the name of the author. God, I say these books and I'm like, I'm going to remember the author, and then I never do. So The Gift of Anger, it's there for a reason, okay? You got to get through the anger first. You got to remind yourself of what this person did so that we don't ever allow somebody else to do it again. So the forgiveness stage comes way later, like way later. You're not going to forgive them for a long time. Let me give you an example. So working with a client that is in the middle of custody insanity. It's just, these people, the abusers, not the clients, the abusers are so petty and so they don't put the kids first ever. The kids are pawns. And so they keep dragging their victims, their targets back to court or to mediation month after month after month after month, year after year after year after year. And finally, the client was able to recognize Grey Rock. They recognized the game. They got it. It took a long time, like more than a year of having left the relationship, more than a year of having, been drugged back to court and having to do mediation and everything else. Finally, they got it. They did the Grey Rock and they watched the abuser implode. It was a beautiful sight to behold, apparently. So, and the person was clear enough and able enough to recognize the dysfunction, that it had nothing to do with them. It had everything to do with the abuser, that there was no emotional hook there. So to get them wound up and have all of their ducks in a row and able to present their stuff in a clear, concise way to the court, because that's what you need to do. And it was funny because sitting down on the couch, the client was like, I get it. It took me a while, but I got it. I get it. That person's miserable. I'm like, yeah. They are. You don't get to weigh almost 400 pounds and have a heart condition and not take care of yourself and smoke and not be miserable. Yeah, exactly. That's suffering. And the client was like, wow, I can have compassion for that, but I don't ever want that person in my life. And I was like, yes, you got it. Yes, good job. So it takes time. It takes time and practice. It does, because that natural inclination, that knee-jerk reaction is, I'm gonna get them and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna hang on to it and how dare they and blah, 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 blah. Let it go. Let it go. Go live your life. Go be awesome. Go have a good time. Seriously. Recognize them for what they are. It's like you can recognize the snake. You can see the snake. You don't need to drape the snake around your neck. You don't. It was a great saying that my nephew told me. Anyway, so because his therapist told him that. So I'm like, I'm stealing that. So, okay. So yeah, it takes time, guys, because you got to get through the anger first. You know, if you're pissed off, you're not going to get to compassion. You're not, because you're pissed, because you've been hurt. So remember, anger, not a pure emotion. It's always driven by the fear of being hurt or having been hurt. So you got to get through all of that. The good, the bad, the ugly, the horrific. At the very end, you tell them, bye-bye. I am not playing with you anymore and I have a right to be angry. So, because that's one thing that our abusers tell us is, you've got to forgive me immediately. You've got, you know, they cheat and then they're like, well, no, you have to trust me immediately. You have to forgive me immediately. No, trust is earned. Forgiveness is about us. So it has nothing to do with you, fucker. So do you see where I'm going with that? So it takes time. It takes time. All right. Next question. My ex left me while my father was in the hospital dying. Oh my God. Then he came to the funeral and I cried and he cried like a baby. 2 weeks later, he moved his new girlfriend into his house. I didn't even know. I'm thinking of writing him a letter to tell him, nope, don't you dare send it. Don't you. I'm thinking of writing him a letter to tell him how I feel. Should I? No, you already know the answer to that. So here's the thing. Narcissistic supply. They want to know how they've hurt you and where they've hurt you and where is that hurt, so I can just take my finger and go a little harder. Don't, guys. What is your motivation? What do you think is going to happen? Okay, so this is where the magic thinking comes in. There is a part of us that thinks, if I can just explain it to them, if I can just show them how they've hurt me, they'll get it and I'll get the apology I so richly deserve. Nope. They don't apologize, guys. And if they do, it's an, I'm sorry I was caught. I'm sorry you. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry you made me. They don't ever apologize. So no, you are not going to send that letter. What you're going to do is you're going to do everything. You're going to write it out, get it out of your head, get it onto paper. You're going to trot that out to the barbecue. You are not going to send it, because why? That is narcissistic supply for them. They don't care what the attention is, good or bad. They don't care as long as you are paying attention to them. That's all they care about. So if this letter is nothing but, fuck yous, they're going to be like, oh, I got to her. Oh yeah, baby. Give me some more of that Coke. Yeah. That's seriously, that's what they're going to do. So no, you're not going to send it to them. You're going to write it out for you. You're going to get the anger out. You might want to have a punching bag handy, because I certainly love punching bags. You're going to write it out, good, bad, ugly, whatever. Get it out of your head. Trot it out to the barbecue, read it out loud once, burn it. Or if you want the sensation of having mailed it, you mail it back to yourself. And when it comes back in the mail, you trot it out to the barbecue and burn it. Let it go. What we do is we hang on to stuff like a badge of honor. It's our armor. It's going to keep us safe. No, it's not. It's going to hurt you more. That's why you got to let shit go. There it is. All right, let's see. Where am I? Hang on. Okay. My parents seem to have changed for the better. Not sure it's possible to not hate them, but also not sure it's possible to fully love them. Is this common with borderline parents, and what should I do? Yes, this is extremely common with borderline parents. So borderline parents tend to, if they're not completely and totally malignant, they can mellow with age. Okay, they can. It does not always happen. They can get a little bit better because they realize when they're in their midlife kind of thing, that they're losing friends, they're losing family. Nobody wants to be around them. They're not, nobody's enjoying their company. So they can get better, but it is, unless they've been working on themselves, it is superficial. Be aware, be awake, be on guard. You are going to have hatred towards them. That's normal. So you got to work that through. Get with a good therapist. Get with a good therapist and work it through. And you do not owe them to love them fully. If they have been abusive, if they've been chaotic, if they've been whatever, you have a right to feel whatever it is you're feeling. You don't have to forgive them. Again, meaning you don't have to forgive them for their behavior. You forgive you, you take care of you, you have compassion for them, but that doesn't mean you have to love them fully. You don't. You can love them from afar. You can love them and keep them at arm's length. You can love them and have your guard up. Okay. Does that make sense? It's like they've shown you who you are, be on guard. You just don't let them back in again. And there is nothing wrong with that. Again, if you were not related to these people, would you have anything to do with them? If the answer is no, don't. If you see some good behavior, that's great. But be aware that unless they are working on themselves, it might be temporary. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. All right. So yes, that is very common. How do you stop ruminating at 3 a.m. so I can get some sleep? Hang on a second. Okay, so basically it's the brain having nothing better to do. So what you're going to do is you're going to do breathing meditations at 3 a.m. You're going to do 1 nostril in, 1 nostril out, 1 nostril in, 1 nostril out. And if that one doesn't do it for you, you find another one on YouTube. And the other thing you can do is you do the tensing and releasing of muscles while you breathe in, and you remind yourself that you're safe, you're okay, you're in your nice warm bed, it's all good, everything's fine, you're all right, you're safe, it's okay. And you're breathing while you're doing that, and you're tensing your muscles. And you start at your toes, you tense your toes, and then let them go. I'm safe. I'm okay. Everything's fine. I'm in my nice warm bed. Everything's fantastic. And then you tense your feet, not your toes, and you let it go. And I'm safe and I'm fine and everything's fantastic. And then you tense your calves, not your feet or your toes. I'm safe. I'm okay. Everything's fine. So it's kind of like giving yourself this to do while you're trying to go back to sleep. So when the thoughts pop up, there's a couple of other things you can do. You can acknowledge them. You can, yeah, I see you. I'm not inviting you in for coffee. It's 3 fucking a.m. What the fuck? Go back to sleep. You have a sense of humor, So, okay, it pops up. Can you do anything? So did I ever tell you? I'm sure I did. So one time, well, it's been more than one time now, my mail person goes on vacation, and for some reason they lose their fucking mind. They stop delivering my mail. So 2 weeks go by, I realized I had no mail. Boom, 3 o'clock, boom, sat straight up. Holy shit, no mail. Oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I've got all these bills I have to pay. I have to take care of that. I got to call the bank. I got to, okay. This was like going crazy, right? Okay. It's 3 a.m. There's nothing I can do. Okay. So I tell myself, my little voice, I'm like, okay, thank you. That's fabulous. I thank you for all the list of things I need to take care of. Let me write them down. So I wrote them down. All right, well, it's 3 o'clock. The post office is not open. I will call as soon as they open up at 8 a.m. There's nothing I can do in this particular moment. So I'm now going to breathe, and I'm going to go back to sleep, and everything's okay, and we're going to be fine, and everything's good, and I'm going to call the bank, and it's all good. Seriously, I finished writing my letter, finished telling myself that. I fell back asleep like that. So it's basically letting yourself know you're safe. You've got a game plan. And no, I'm not going to invite you in for coffee. I'm not going to sit here and stare at the ceiling until 8 o'clock in the morning going, because there's nothing you can do. Can you do? Okay, Buddhist worry chart, guys. Buddhist worry chart. Is there a problem? Yes. Can you do something about it? Yes. Then don't fucking worry. Is there a problem? Yes. Can you do something about it? No. Then don't fucking worry. Worry does nothing. Worry is futile. It does nothing. I mean, it was great to write down the list so I knew what I needed to do. But once that was done, okay, thank you. Thank you, fear. Gift of fear. Thank you, fear. We're done. Thank you for informing me what I needed to do. And we're done. Let it go. Let it go. It takes practice. This is not, have you ever seen the meme of the two gurus? And it's like there's the older guru and there's a younger guru. And so the older guru's little bubble over his head is like nothing. It's like the present moment. It's like the trees in the background or whatever. And it's the same thing with the dog meme where the dog is like, oh, look, dog, trees, woo, present moment. Whereas the younger guru is like, did I leave the iron on? Should I have done this? Should I have? So it takes practice. It takes practice. It takes practice. Don't beat yourself up for it. You're not going to be perfect the first few times you try it. This thing is going to keep popping back, and you have to keep going. No, this is a boundary. No, I'm not going to ruminate about this at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm going to do instead? I'm going to make a list of whatever I need to do. Or if it's stuff from the past, I acknowledge it's in the past. I can't change it. I'm going to breathe, and I give myself permission to go back to sleep and sleep well. Breathe, sleep, breathe, sleep. Oxygen's amazing. Do it. So there is that. Okay. Does the rumination stop once we find a supportive trauma-informed therapist? It lessens a great deal because you're able to talk it out. So basically what it is, it's like when we are unable to resolve things, okay, it just kind of keeps going and going and going and going. And when we're able to talk it out with a therapist, yes, it does get less and less and less and less because we're able to kind of resolve it. It's like, okay, this happened, and I did this, this, and this. And the therapist is either able to go, look, there was nothing you could have done. This is the abuser that they are. Or, hey, you did absolutely all the right things. There was nothing more you could have done. You see, validation. Validation is huge in trauma recovery. It's validating. Because why? Because our abusers are constantly invalidating us, telling us that we don't know what we know, telling us, oh no, that never happened. What are you talking? Gaslighting, that whole thing. So yeah, when you get with a trauma-informed therapist and you're able to start working through the stuff, the rumination becomes less and less because you stop doubting yourself. So rumination is part of that whole self-doubt, which again, all goes back to ding, self-esteem. If you have not gotten the self-esteem workbook, get it. Work it. If you don't like that one, find a different one. You Are a Badass. That's also a good one. I've had clients tell me they love that one too. So get a self-esteem workbook that resonates with you. Get it. Work it. Stop doubting yourself. You know what happened to you. Even though your abuser is sitting there going, well, that never happened. I never said that. That didn't go down that way. Blah, 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 blah. You know what happened. You do. That's why it's important to write it all out, so that you have it. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, you did call me a stupid bleep, 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 bleep. See where I'm going with that? So yeah, you do want to get with a good therapist and start working it through because it does help the brain calm down because the brain gets validation and it goes back to self-esteem because we trust ourselves. Trust your gut. Always. Do not listen to your head. Do not listen to your heart. Listen to your gut. It will never lie to you. These two tell stories. The gut is a simple yes or no answer to a question. So yeah, abso-freaking-lutely. Let me get over here. Okay. Stop. I hate it when this thing does that. Okay. Could it be that our desire for revenge is just a false hope of hurting them enough for them to recognize that they have hurt us? Yes. Absolutely it is. It absolutely is. It's a kid thing. It's a kid thing. So think of it this way. It's magic thinking, It's like, well, if I can just hurt them and make them understand how I felt when they did that to me, they don't care, guys. You're missing the big picture here. The big picture is that psychopaths and narcissists, okay, do not have empathy. They cannot, they will not place themselves in somebody else's shoes and go, oh, ow, ow, that must have really hurt. This is why we as empaths have had such a hard time watching violent movies. I can't watch them because, if an actor is really good and they're really portraying being harmed, I just, no, thank you. I can't do it. Physically, mentally, emotionally, I have a really hard time with it. So, yes, it is a way of trying to get them to recognize that they've harmed us, but they're never going to get it, guys. They don't have the empathy. They're unable to put themselves into somebody else's shoes and go, what must that be like? So this is what's so frustrating is that, I was talking to my nephew the other day. He's a survivor of cancer. He's gone through chemotherapy and everything. And he was talking about how hard it was with his therapist because his therapist didn't understand because she's young and she's never had chemo and didn't understand what it would feel like. And she was kind of poo-pooing the aches and the pains and how much it's aged him. And I basically said, you got to get a different therapist because that therapist has no empathy. Because a good therapist, even though they haven't experienced it, even though I've never had cancer, thank God, knock wood, even though I've never had cancer, I've never had empathy, or I've had empathy, I've never had chemo, I have the empathy to go, ow, oh God, I can imagine what that chemo must do to each cell Oh my gosh, because it kills all the fast growing cells. So that would be your joints are going to hurt. Your fingernails are going to not grow very fast. Your hair is going to fall out. The fast growing cells are going to suffer because of the chemo in an effort to kill off the fast growing cancer cells. That's going to be painful. There's going to be parts of your body that are going to be painful. I can imagine that. That therapist couldn't. I told him to get a new therapist. Because when you have empathy, you're able to go, what must that be like? Okay, you're able to imagine. You're able to put yourself in somebody's shoes and go, okay, I've never had chemo. I've never had cancer. But what must that be like? Knowing what chemo does to the body, knowing how it kills off the fast-growing cells, how each joint must ache and be painful. Doesn't take a lot to get from point A to point B. But if you have no empathy and don't understand how chemotherapy works or radiation or anything else, you're not going to get it. And it's the same thing with the abuser. They don't have empathy. They cannot put themselves in our shoes and go, oh man, boy, when I banged the pots and pans at 2 o'clock in the morning and kept you up all those nights, that must have been really horrible. No, because it's an end. It's a means to an end to them. And all they care about is manipulating. All they care about is being right. All they care about is the one up. All they care about is winning. That's all they care about. They don't care about you guys. They don't. And that's a hard pill to swallow because we loved them. We loved them. I loved my dad. I did. But he was an abuser. He was horrible and he never loved me. Ever. And he never will. So that's what you have to understand. There's no empathy there. They cannot put themselves in your shoes. They can't. I mean, I talk about it in here. My dad called me a whore when I was still a virgin because that's what he would have done. He could not put himself in my shoes and imagine what it would be like to be a young lady living in, a town, a college town, and not catting around. So they don't have the ability to put themselves in your shoes. They do not. They will never get it. And yes, that is a very inner child kind of magic thinking. If I just hurt them the same way and get revenge, then they'll get it and then they'll apologize. No siree Bob. Never going to happen. Never going to happen. Why do I still feel the abuser is still the love of my life? Because you have not worked on self-esteem and you have not done the work necessary to understand that they were mirroring you back to you. So remember, they are master illusionists. And they come in blazing guns. I'm just like you. I'm just like your best friend. I'm just like this. I'm you. I'm you. You like pizza? I like pizza. Prince Hans from Frozen with Princess Anna, I think. So yeah, it's the same thing. It's so they mirror us back to us and we fall in love with ourselves and then they go away and we go, oh, wait, but that was the love of my life. No, the love of your life is you. Get into the mirror. Do mirror work. Hi, good to see you. Have a great day. Hey, I give you permission to love you or to like you. Or if we're not up to love or like, you're okay. Whatever. Do mirror work. Do it. Do the self-esteem workbook. Do it. Do it. So it's all about self-esteem because what we did is we fell in love with ourselves. They cause us to fall in love with the best of us and we don't recognize it. We don't recognize that they're a mirror. We think it's them. It's not. Because if you'll notice, they'll move on to somebody else and they'll destroy that person's life. Yay. So that's not us. They're now mirroring that person. They're finally letting the mask drop. They're doing whatever. That is not the love of your life. The love of your life needs to be you. The love of your life needs to be you. So do the self-esteem workbook. Do You Are a Badass. Do The Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker. Get your boundaries up and running. They are not the love of your life. They mirrored you back to you. Fall in love with you. You're awesome. Fall in love with you. All right. Is it normal to go back and forth between being angry and numb when dealing with, why is this thing doing this? Oh, stop it. With my narc and codependent parent. Yeah, it is. So anger is a normal emotion. It is. It absolutely is a normal emotion when we have been harmed. And when we have been abused over and over and over again, and our abuser just doesn't get it, we do eventually get numb to it. It's like, this doesn't even register. I'm so done, right? So yeah, it is normal. It is normal. But what you want to get to is neither of those emotions. You don't want to be numb. You also don't want to be angry all the time. You just want to be kind of gray rock, like, oh, yeah, they're doing it again. I have no control over it. I do have control over whether or not I'm around it, however. So that's kind of what you want to do. So why does it seem that my abuser has sympathy for other people but not me? Because it's an act. It's an act. Other people, remember, they're all about other esteem. Self-esteem is just our tiny little voice going, hey, good job. I like you. Keep going. Oops, you fucked up. Okay, make amends. Good, you did. Okay, forgive yourself. Move on. That's self-esteem. Narcissists need other esteem. They need other people to tell them how fabulous they are, okay? So they will have sympathy for everybody else. Sympathy, different than empathy. Sympathy is, oh, poor baby. Oh, that's so sad that happened to you. Empathy is, oh, God, how awful. I can feel what that must have felt like. That's empathy. Sympathy is the, oh, poor baby. I'm so sorry. That's sympathy. That's not empathy. So they don't have empathy for other people. They do have sympathy for other people, but it's a show. It's a show. It's like, oh, see how kind and healing I am, when in fact they have not an empathic bone in their body. They are cruel, vicious, mean, awful, horrible, terrible people. So yeah. Okay, let's see. How do I deal with unintentionally bumping into my previous partner if I'm still in the stages of healing and forgiving myself? When is a good time to start dating again? Okay. When we live in a small town, or when we live anywhere near where our previous partner lives, you're probably going to run into them. So what you do is you gray rock them. You gray rock them. You are under no obligation to acknowledge their existence. You are not. You just go about your business. If they come up to you, you give them nothing. No emotion. Gray rock. Oh, look at the time. Gotta go. No emotion. Because remember, they don't care whether the attention is good or bad as long as you are paying attention to them. So what you do is you just gray rock them. Gray rock them, have nothing to do with them. Move on. Keep going. When is a good time to start dating again? Okay, when you can look in the mirror and honestly say that you like yourself consistently every single damn day, and that your boundaries are in place. That when your boundaries are challenged, you're able to say no with confidence. A year minimum of you working on you with a therapist, doing the self-esteem work, doing the boundary work, working on whatever caused you to be groomed to be with an abuser. What was the family of origin like? How did you get the messages that it was okay to be abused? Who taught you that it was okay? What were you trying to fix? What was the original wound? That's going to take time, guys. At least a year. Minimum. And then when you do start dating, for the love of God and all that's holy, do not get on one of the fucking internet dating sites. They are filled with predators. Filled to the brim. Psychopaths, narcissists, damaged people. Oh my God. And I know the next thing everybody says is, oh, well, but I can't meet anybody in real life. Okay, guess what? Go do what you love. Go do things that you love. What made you you? What drew the abuser to you in the first place? Because remember, they want what we have. They want what we have. They want the happiness. They want the empathy. They want the joy. They want the humor. They want the whatever. Whatever hobbies we have, they try to take over, or they make us wrong for them so that we don't do them anymore. So who were you before the abuse happens? Or if it was parents that did it to you, what have you always wanted to do that you never got permission to do? What have you always been told? No, you can't do that. You're a girl. No, you can't do that. You're a boy. No, you can't do that. It's too dangerous. No, you can't do that. What if you fail? Go do it. Go do it. Go do something you enjoy. Find like-minded people that way. You are never going to find the love of your life on the internet. What you are going to find is covert abusers, overt abusers, narcissists, psychopaths, etc. No, don't do it. It's study after study after study after study has shown that the dating sites are not good. Not even eHarmony. eHarmony has had some issues with abuse happening as far as that's concerned. So you've got to be smart. You've got to be grounded. You've got to be ready and prepared to have boundaries, to have your good self-esteem, to not be depending on somebody else like this to tell you that you're sexy or beautiful or funny or handsome or whatever, that you're standing on your own 2 feet and that you have good boundaries in place. Then you're ready to date, not before then. Do not go on the internet. Don't do it. Go do things you love. That's where you're going to meet like-minded people. But be aware, the universe is going to throw a few narcissists at you to test you to see if you're ready yet. So that's a lot of my clients tell me that. They're like, okay, I started doing what I loved, and oh boy, this person glommed onto me, and all the red flags. I'm like, good, you're recognizing him this time. Who does this remind you of? Oh, okay, it reminds you of your abuser. Okay, well, you know what to do. Have boundaries. Don't have them in your life. Move on. So yeah, so there is that. Okay, I write down events that happened with my narc. I read it for a reality check, but it doesn't seem to move me. Why and what should I do? Again, if you were reading this, if a friend of yours were reading this list to you, would you be moved? Would you have empathy for your friend? Would you go, oh my God, what are you doing? Why are you allowing this abuser to take your kids away from you? Why are you allowing this abuser to blow through your money? Why are you allowing this abuser to tell you you're terrible? Why are you allowing this abuser to keep you up at night? Why are you allowing your abuser to isolate you? So as if you were reading, as if it was a friend reading it to you, would you be outraged? And if you're not for yourself, then that says self-esteem. People who love themselves do not put up with abuse from anybody. I don't care who the fuck they think they are. We don't put up with it. We do not negotiate with terrorists. We do not put up with bullshit. We don't, because we like ourselves. We like ourselves, plain and simple. We like ourselves. So yeah, you need to act as if a friend was telling you this. And if you would be outraged if a friend told you that and you don't have the outrage for yourself, that's a self-esteem issue. Get in with a good therapist, start working on self-esteem. I am angry with a friend who is stuck, toxic, and does nothing to help herself. We have no contact now, but I find myself still feeling angry with her, which feels judgmental to me. What to do? You let it go. Some people are perpetual victims, okay? And those are the ones that you've got to watch out for. Help me, help me, help me, help me. Oh, this is terrible. Oh, this is awful. Oh, but I'm not going to do anything to help myself, but I do want your attention and helping me, but I'm never going to change. So let it go. It's not judgmental. It is what it is. This person is a perpetual victim. They're never going to change. They're never going to get better. All they want is your time and attention and to drain you. So yes, I would love to keep going for a little bit. Just 3 more questions, I believe. So yeah, that is what you do. That's not judgmental. That is what it is. See, this is what drives me crazy. People are like, oh, but you're being judgmental when you call it out as you see it. If it walks like a narcissistic duck, takes a shit like a narcissistic duck, quacks like a narcissistic duck, it's probably a goddamn narcissistic duck, motherfucker. So yeah, it is what it is. All right. How do you deal with the emotions from dealing with a spouse that's going through withdrawal? Okay. Do you mean like withdrawal from drugs and alcohol? I'm assuming that's what you're meaning. It's hard. It is hard because, quitting cigarettes, quitting alcohol, quitting drugs, the person's emotions are going to be all over the place. My recommendation, go to Al-Anon, get some support, read up on what withdrawal is like. There's going to be post-acute withdrawal symptoms. It's called PAWS, post-acute withdrawal symptoms, and your partner is going to be all over the place. They're going to be foggy. They're going to be not in their body. They're going to be angry. They're going to be testy. They're going to be sad. They're going to be, yeah. So you deal with it by not allowing them to abuse you, number 1. Number 2, you validate. I get it. This sucks. This is hard. And I'm so proud of you for quitting whatever it is that you quit, and you don't allow them to abuse you. So there it is. But do read up on it. Read up on withdrawal. Read up on, go to Al-Anon, get some support, or you could go to AA meetings. That's another great place to go to get a little bit more of a perspective on it. It's like, what is this like? What is this? What are they going through? I don't quite understand. Let me understand. So read up on it. I just got a blank stare back when I told my narc I found out they were playing sick games with you, making fun of you and laughing at you. Okay, sick games with me, making fun of me and laughing at me being hurt. Well, yeah, because you caught them. When a narcissist is caught, they do not acknowledge it. They just blank stare. It's like, well, what do I do now? Well, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to apologize. Screw you. I'm not going to apologize. So that's what they do. They don't, you catch them in something and they just give you a blank stare. It's called the psychopath stare. It's like when you catch them dead to rights, they're in their mind. I can guarantee you they're trying to find a way to spin it, but they can't fast enough. So yeah, you have nothing to do with that person. Okay, we are at 104. I am going to stop for today. Next week, I want to talk about, oh, wait a minute, one more question. Sorry. Yes, I do want to answer this one. Do you still attend AA meetings or work on a 12-step program? Abso-fucking-lutely. Yes, abso-fucking-lutely. And I'll tell you what, I really hit AA meetings when I get triggered. So sometimes things happen at work, and the first thought I have is, Jesus Christ, I would love a drink. Okay, time to hit a meeting. Okay. So yeah, absolutely. You hit AA meetings when you need them, and you still work the program. You make sure that you are walking with integrity and that you are doing what you're supposed to, and you're staying clean and sober, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so cruise still has cabins. We got more cabins available. So if you want to come on the cruise with me and Susanna, yes, Susanna is going to be there. She is going to lead a lecture. I'm going to lead a lecture. You're going to have access to us during lunch and dinner. So, and you can ask us questions and all of that stuff. Go to Eventbrite. Go there if you are interested in the European events. All the events are up now. Chris got them up on Eventbrite. If you're in England and you want to go to England or to London's lecture, June 13th of 2020, Birmingham, June 13th, 2020, Manchester, June 14th of 2020, Edinburgh, June 20th of 2020, and Dublin, June 21st. Susanna is coming with me. So get your tickets now. That's it. All right. I think we did. Oh, Beth did it. Thank you, Beth. You're awesome. And Susanna, thank you so much. And Chris, thank you so much. John, thank you so much. Okay, guys, that's it. Next week, I am going to be talking about some of the ways that abusers abuse and try to hide it. So we're going to be talking about putting down females, putting down males, kind of that male chauvinism, female chauvinism. There's both, because remember, there's female abusers as well. So we're going to be talking a little bit about the kind of things that they do that are like sort of on the cusp of socially acceptable, but not really. And they kind of try to slip it under. So we're going to talk about that because you got to watch for that. All right. And they do it at work too. All right. So we're going to talk about that. All right, guys, have a great week. Love you all. Be good to each other. Where the hell did my thing go? There it is. Okay. And that's it. And go to Eventbrite, get your tickets and all that sort of fun stuff. I will talk to you next week. Bye.